collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
Hello, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening in the spotlight. This is the home of unfiltered conversations, and this is where real talk is what we do. My name is none other than Donna Thompson.
And I'm Dr. Laxley Stephenson, and together we are your moderators. Donna, what is happening? This is a special night tonight. We have some big stuff. We have a powerful guest waiting to come on. I can't wait to have her on. And guess what? You guys share the same name.
I know. Isn't that special? That makes it even more special.
I am surrounded by Donnas tonight. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I know we always say, like we always say every week that our guests that we have, they're so wonderful and phenomenal, important. But I'm telling you, like, I mean, like whenever she opens her mouth and she's speaking, I'm just like this.
She got you.
Like, she has my full attention, and she's definitely. I know she's definitely gonna have that for our audience tonight, and we're gonna learn so much.
It's going to be a power-packed conversation, and lots of good information, but necessary information. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Things we all need to know as citizens, as productive members of our communities. So I'm looking forward to our conversation tonight. But let's talk a little bit about, guess what? It's Monday again.
It's Monday again.
Just like that.
Yes.
It's another Monday.
And it was spring break last week for the kids in school. And it just seemed like it
went. That break is up tomorrow, isn't it?
No, it was up today.
It's up today?
Monday.
Oh, so my grandchildren, they got an extra day then, because they're home today.
Oh, okay. Nice. So they got an extra day.
I guess I can't set my clock by them.
No.
Because I thought today was another, just a natural, regular day off. But as I'm hearing from you, it's not.
Today was back to school. Yeah.
Yeah, back to school. And back to school is such a big deal. I remember when I was in the school business, going to school, I used to look forward to that day when we go back to school. Go back to learning, to growing, to knowing more. So I'm hoping that is how we need to be empowering our kids and teaching them, getting them engaged, and wanting them to see the importance of going back to school just to get excited, right?
Just to be excited. Yeah. It was funny because it's, even though like spring break is over, today's is back to school, but then before you know it, I think they have like a month left out of the school year. And May, they're on summer break. So like within another month, they're gonna be out of school. And I remember Daniel saying that to me, like, wow, Mom, it seemed like it went by so fast. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be May before you know it, and I'm not gonna be in school. What am I gonna do? I'm like, oh.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, right? So before you know it, summer is here. And, you know, we were just last summer, we went to Kenya, right?
Oh.
And we went on that mission to Kenya, and the experience was amazing. You know, we came back. You know, it's interesting how you go to these places, to these countries, believing that you're bringing stuff. And then you find out when you get there that you're the one that is really bringing things back in terms of, you know, empowerment, knowledge, and understanding, and how you're growing. But that was certainly my experience, and I believe it was your experience as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Like, you know, I just like what you said, you have people are thinking you're going there, you're gonna change this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do all this stuff, and then you come back and you're like, wait a minute, who am I?
Boom! You're the one that's awakened.
Yeah,
you're the one that's having your discoveries.
You talking about a collision, right?
Just like that. So what's going on in A Collision with Purpose for? What we have going on? And if you don't mind, can you talk about February 24th, 2025? But that's a big deal, and we want to get that off running, start promoting that today.
Yes. So, you know, definitely 2025, February 24th at Shiloh High School. We'll be back there with our colloquium. We're going to have individuals that we're honoring, individuals in the community who they're doing phenomenal work. Kind of like, you know, like we said, our unsung heroes. You know, we want to give them their flowers now, recognize them, because they're, you know, and these are people who they're not necessarily looking for recognition, but they're doing the work of serving humanity in their communities and surrounding communities. And we want to recognize those individuals. And then, of course, we'll have the next volume of A Collision with Purpose, the book, where we'll also have the co-authors that's going to be in there, or the contributing authors, I should say, that's going to be in there, sharing their stories, their life journeys. So we'll also get an opportunity to meet those individuals as well, and kind of hear about their journey, and really how their journey have brought them to living on purpose, you know, now living a purposeful life. So I would tell anyone, if you, and I shouldn't say if, there's no if, you just need to be in that room. Because just like how we're saying that we took a trip to Kenya thinking that we were going to impact and change and do all these different things, and in turn it impacted us and totally influenced us, and now we're at the point of going back. So just like that, you need to be in the room at Shiloh High School, February 24th, 2025, because your life will be impacted by the networking, just being around individuals who are purposed to do great things and positive things in their life and in their community. And you're going to leave being a changed person. You are going to leave that room a changed person. Tickets are definitely on sale currently. So you want to go ahead and jump on our website, acollisionwithpurpose.com. Jump on our website and you'll be able to go ahead and purchase your tickets now, reserve your seats. And I would definitely recommend for you to reserve your seat now, because I am quite sure 2025 is going to be sold out. And the theater holds but so many seats, right? Yes. So you want to make sure that you're in that room. And of course, we're going to have entertainment, just like we did you know, our first event. We're going to have entertainment, we're going to have speakers. It's just going to be phenomenal, to be honest with you.
It will be one of those events that you say, wow, I experienced it. And as many are saying, I'm receiving all kinds of calls from different individuals telling me, man, can't wait. I can't wait for the next one. You know, and of course, as far as students are concerned, we are not going to create any barriers for them to grow, to learn. So students will always be admitted for free.
Right.
Yeah, that is our thing. That's what we do. We focus on our students, our future generation. So they will always be admitted for free. We'll have them involved as well in the entertainment and just part of the business, So we're going to Kenya.
Yes.
We're going to Kenya in September. We're going back to Kenya. We're going there with a Collision with Purpose. What's the other organization we're going with?
Touch and Restore, which they're out of Florida.
And in conjunction and collaboration with Hope and Destiny Foundation. And our goal there, again, is to build capacity, to make a difference, right? That's what we're going there for, yeah. So you can support that initiative. It's a community-based initiative. You can support it. There are a number of ways. We're still looking for a few individuals to come with us, but you can also make a donation if you see it fit. And the last thing I want to say before we go, A Collision with Purpose in Pursuit of Purpose is on sale on our website. It's also on Amazon. Unearthing You is on sale as well. But the reason why we prefer if you purchase the book on our website is that each book purchased on our website, we donate $5 to A Collision with Purpose Scholarship Fund. And I think that is important. Again, that is giving back to communities, to students, empowering them and preparing them so they can become the citizens that we want them to be. All right. So I think we should take a quick break so we can bring our guests on, and you will introduce this powerful person who'll be coming on. I just want her to know as well. She's in the green room, in the backstage, that she can stream this show to her on her social media platforms as well. So she should be aware that she can do that. So I am gonna play a video, and then we'll bring her on at the end of the video. All right?
Sounds good.
Is that okay? All right, Let's do that. Let's do that.
Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. Have a collision with purpose, 'cause you know that you're worth it, and your dream is worth capturing. If I'm not living on purpose, then none of it is worth it. My assignment is uplifting souls for the King, souls for the King, souls for the King. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision
Wow. Written and performed by Ty Swayze. And you know, the line that really gets me is, "It is my decision to be in alignment with my purpose." And our guest tonight made a decision to be in alignment with her purpose. So what a fitting song. So Donna, can you bring her on?
Talk about intentionality. She did it. But
it's almost as if that song was made for her.
I'm telling you, oh my gosh. But without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you this evening none other than Miss Donna McLeod. I'm going to give you a little bit of her background, just a little bit, because she can tell her story better than us, right? Of course, she knows herself. But she is actually currently, she's running for the chairperson of Gwinnett County here in Georgia, right? So she's currently running for that position. So she's going to tell you why it's important to get out there and cast your vote, especially locally. She's going to go into details about all that stuff. However, she's a Jamaican born, right? She's a former member of the Georgia House of Representatives from the 105th district, and she's a member from 2019 to 2023, and she's actually the first Jamaican American to become a representative in Georgia. And then, of course, she's a mom, she's a grandmother, and believe it or not, guys, I've never met female who was actually a chemical engineer. So I am just like humbled to be in her presence. But she is a chemical engineer. She's had over 20 years of experience in this industry. So she's just phenomenal. She's just doing a lot. But like I said, she's intentional about what she's doing. She's intentional about representing her neighborhood, her community. She's intentional about making change. And like we said, the song is so fitting for her, and it's so fitting for her to be on our platform, because this is what we talk about all the time, about living your purpose, being intentional, aligning yourself with your purpose. So I just can't wait for her to come on so we can get into this conversation. So I'm not going to take up any more time.
And there she is, the Honorable Donna McLeod.
Well, thank you, Dr. Stephenson, and thank you, my namesake, Donna Thompson. Donnas are awesome. And by the way, the name Donna means lady. So you are surrounded by ladies.
I love it.
And by the way, also the word for this year that I chose was intentional.
Oh,
yeah, it's on my Facebook. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So those was
about alignment, huh?
Yeah, we're in alignment.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intentional.
So Donna, Honorable Donna, we're gonna just do the Donna thing, all right? It's so much easier. So let's talk about your story, because you shared with us your story from Jamaica.
Yes.
Where you are today. So can you do a repeat for our listeners, for our viewers?
Well, absolutely. Anything for the listeners and the viewers. So yes, I was born in Kingston, Jamaica in the late 60s, in actually West Kingston. And Jamaicans know what West Kingston's like. My grandmother had a house in Tivoli Gardens, and I was born in Jubilee. So West Kingston was a pretty rough side of town in that sense. It's the city. It's the downtown area of Jamaica. And so you get people coming from different walks of life. And I was a child in the 70s. And so it's so fitting that the Bob Marley story came out, One Love. And that actually captured a whole lot of what I experienced as a child in Jamaica. It was a very turbulent time from probably about 75 to 77. And I left Jamaica in 77, but it was a lot of violence. I came close to dying 3 times because of just political violence. The Jamaican Labour Party and the People's National Party. What I didn't understand back then when I was a child was what was actually going on politically in Jamaica. And that was Jamaica's resources was being tugged, and there's a tug of war, literally a Cold War being fought in Jamaica because of its natural resources. So both the United States and Russia found Jamaica to be a very appealing place because it had the bauxite, which was aluminum. They had sugar cane. So Jamaica had a lot of natural resources that everybody wanted, and it had a beautiful harbor. It's a great place for stopping and unloading and getting things filled back up. So it was a very attractive place, and people were fighting for that resources, and the people in the island didn't realize that they were basically being used at that time. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people lost their life during that time, and I could have lost mine 3 times. I remember walking to school one day, and these 4 bad men just come across the street and just started firing shots. And I'm in my school uniform, and I'm turning around and I'm running, and a gunshot went right underneath my foot. I could see it, and I just kept running. But those, that was a time, and I think that was the catalyst for my grandmother, whom I'm very proud of. Her name is Madamak. She could not read, nor could she write, but you couldn't fool her with her money. She actually sold in the market. She sold her goods, and that profession allowed her to buy the house in Tivoli Garden in the late 60s. And Tivoli Garden really was a garden. It was a beautiful place. It was back on wall before, but they basically built it up, and it was a fantastic place. And so she was able to get my father to get his trade as a welder. My father's one of the best welders for welding aluminum. And anybody knows that aluminum is a hard thing to actually weld. And so he was very good. He ended up leaving Jamaica in the late 60s when I was only a year old to go to Canada because Canada was building its infrastructure, and they needed people to be able to do the job, and my father could. And so he left us in Jamaica. But by the late 70s, it had gotten so bad. My grandmother really pushed my father to get us up out of Jamaica. One, because we were also coming of age as females, pregnancy and all that stuff. But also the violence was really so incredibly palpable that she really insisted that my father get us up. So I actually grew up in Canada. And I went to school in Canada. I went to elementary, middle, and high school and college, and graduated with my engineering degree there. My daughter was also born in Canada. So for me, 21 years I spent in Canada was very formidable about who I am. And Jamaica is a huge part about who I am. And so for me, that collective journey has made me who I am. Can't change anything because it would change me. And so I'm grateful for that. My daughter, my dad, again, who was going across the border, working as a welder still before he retires. He's been retired a few years now, but he used to go across the border, and he said he was getting prepared to retire, and he wanted to buy a piece of land, and because in his mind he's going to be growing callaloo, he's going to be growing yam, he's going to be growing. So he thought Florida is going to be a much better place for him to reside. So he actually bought a home there, and got his green card, and then asked my sister and I if we were interested in living in the States. We said, sure. Why not? So he applied for our green card, and it took 7 years. So he applied for it in 1991, and we didn't get the green card until 1998. 1998, so in between 91 and 98, something incredible happened in Georgia, and that was the Olympics. And so I was able to watch the Olympics in Canada and said, "Woo, this sounds good." Black Mecca. The way Andrew, at the time, Ambassador Andrew Young, who was, I think, might have been the ex-mayor, or maybe was still the mayor. I'm not sure where we stood at that point, but I remember him really promoting Georgia. And it was so ironic because we were thinking of going to Seattle, Washington if we got the green card. And it's ironic that I live in the state of Georgia, because when I was a little girl, and I can still remember it very vividly, because my mom, I remember it was raining a lot in Jamaica, and I recently found out I was only maybe 2.5, going on 3. And it was raining. And my mom had a place above a store, and in the background, A Rainy Night in Georgia was playing. And as over the years, actually, that was my mechanism for sleeping. Was I don't like taking any kind of medication or anything like that. So I would remember the song playing in the background, the rain coming down, because we had zinc roof, and it was the way I would go to sleep. I would think about that moment in time. So it's ironic that I live in the state of Georgia now. But finally, in 1998, the U.S. government contacted us, immigration contacted us, and said, your green card has been approved, and you have 6 months to get out of Georgia, get out of Canada to come to the U.S. So we had to make a quick decision on where we were going to live, and Georgia ended up being the winner. We drove down here. Yeah, we drove down here, saw the place. We liked it, only because Canada is so clean, and Georgia just kind of fit more into the way I was raised in Canada, rather than like New York and Brooklyn and Bronx, because it was really not in the same way I was raised in Canada. So Georgia was really cool, and just the way that it was laid out, it was really, really, I found it much more the speed that I wanted. So ended up moving down here, came down here. Both my sister and I had about $5,000 a piece, and we got a condo in DeKalb County, as a matter of fact. And I spent 2 years in DeKalb, and then I initially was actually aiming to go to Gwinnett County, because I had a daughter who was 12 at the time, and I wanted a school system. But when I came down here, driving through to come down to Georgia, we hit Gwinnett County like it's one of the first counties coming from from the north to the south, and we're like, "Ooh, that's really far out here." Today's not far out anymore, but back then, back in 1990s, I think 97, it seemed 98. It seemed real far. It was 90 in 98. Seemed real far out there. So I was like, not going to move there. And then we moved to DeKalb because it also had transportation system. And I drove my old Sable down with me. So, I had some transportation, but my sister wouldn't have had transportation. So that we chose on with DeKalb County. I spent 2 years there, and then I bought my house here in Gwinnett County, and I've been here in Gwinnett County ever since. But before I got to this point, in 1998, so I moved in 98 in August. 2000 was the election for then Al Gore and George W. Bush. And I remember the election being called for Gore. And then all of a sudden they came back and said, no, hold up. And I'm like, math doesn't work like that. I'm an engineer. Math does not work like that. It's an addition issue. You add up the votes. And of course, the Electoral College plays a part in electing presidents in the United States. So that was kind of strange and odd. And so I actually ended up going down to Florida to protest Bush's inauguration. And I was not a citizen at the time. And so I went, after that, I kind of went on. I was a quality manager for over-the-counter drug manufacturer. So my engineering degree, I worked in laboratories, R&D stuff, but eventually got into quality management. And so, I'm going about my business. And in 2004, this young guy comes up, with it's not the blue state, it's not a red state, it's the United States of America. And I thought to myself, if he ever ran for president, I would be there on day one. And that's what I did. In 2007, he announced the run for president. And in 2008, In the beginning of 2008, I used to drive from Gwinnett County down to Atlanta because that was the only place he had an office. And at that time, the office that he opened, that was open for him, only 15 of us showed up in that office. And 9 of the people out of the 15 were from outside the state of Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah, only like 6 of us was from Georgia. So we went out. I remember going out canvassing and knocking on African American doors. So we had gotten a turf that was, in a predominantly African American neighborhood, and I remember having doors slammed in our faces. I actually went out with a young man. He was young because he couldn't have been more than maybe 17, 18. He had traveled from Texas to canvass. And we went out, and I remember that it kind of started snowing. And I said, "Do you want to go back to the car?" And he said, "No, I'm doing this for Barack." And that's where he got his hardest supporters were young people. And for me, it was not a challenge for me to see a Black man as being president. For me, I've always seen Black people in leadership. So for me, it was not a question of if, or it's about when. And I was ready for the when. And I never blinked. And I remember even Jamaicans saying to me, "Donna, you're not afraid?" They might get him. I'm like, if he's not afraid, and if his wife is willing to step up, why? I'm going to just be there. And so one of the first civil rights leader in the state of Georgia that actually stood up was Reverend Lowry. And I remember he used to come into the office and do the invocation and pray for us before we went out canvassing. So that's how I remember the beginning of this journey. Yeah. And then, I got involved in it. I went to Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio. I went to North and South Carolina, and of course, Georgia. But North Carolina was interesting because when we went to North Carolina, that was the week of Reverend Wright. And if everybody that was alive that time, Reverend Wright was his pastor, who had basically had a sermon in which he had been angry because he had gone and fought for this country, came back, and was still being disrespected. And so he had the sermon that he, used some language that some people thought was, inflammatory. But at the end of the day, this was this man's experience in this country. So they kind of tagged, at that time, Senator Barack Obama to the pastor and wouldn't let go. And so when we went to North Carolina, I remember the office that we went into to pick up our literature to go out and knock, and our canvas to go knock in. I remember it was solemn. Everybody was kind of feeling sad. But when we got to the ground, no, that was not happening. People was ready for Barack. And the folks that was opening the door was excited, especially the ones that were from African descent, like they were Africans. They thought the people that knocked on the door that said they were canvassing on behalf of then Senator Barack Obama were stars in themselves, and that we touched. They would bring us in there for food and everything. It was wonderful. It was the most extraordinary campaign I'd ever been a part of. I mean, where you saw people with their job, people with the cap for people that practice Judaism. You got Black people, white people. You got people from different countries. I even met people from Norway and Canada that were down here canvassing. It was amazing. Other than having my daughter, that was one of the most amazing thing I've ever been a part of. And also learning how to grassroots organize and really understanding how important it is to touch people. When you actually touch people, it makes a difference. So it was exciting. And so after North Carolina, I pretty much thought he's going to win presidency. But the day that it did happen, I will say it was emotional. It really was one of the most extraordinary nights when he was called to be the 44th president of the United States of America. And that room I was in was pandemonium. People was on the table. It was wonderful. It was extraordinary. And I hope that history will reflect that, about the extraordinary nature of his candidacy, his improbable candidacy, and the fact that he became president of the United States, not once, but twice. And so I was a national director for voter outreach for Black Women for Obama in 2012. I actually started my process to become a citizen at the very beginning of 2012. But unfortunately, they didn't give me my citizenship until almost the end of the year, November. So I actually have my date for registering to vote was 12/18/2012. That's the day. And so, you know, I couldn't stop. So I actually started a nonprofit organization called CANI, Community Action Network Initiative, that we continue to do voter registration and voter education, because we found so many people did not understand what a republic was, what representative democracy was. And I hopefully I'll touch a little bit more on it this time. So I started that, registering people to vote. They had changed the lines where I lived. There was a young lady that ran for the new district, and after the census in 2010, they created a district called 105. A young lady ran in 2012, and she ran in 2014, and she lost. And then somebody came to me and asked me to run in 2016. I absolutely said no. And then another person came and asked me, and I said nope. And then another person came and asked me, and I said nope. And then another person, it was 5 people that asked me. I think it's the 5th or the 6th person was a gentleman named, his name is Dewey McLean. He was a former football player for the Falcons, and he was also a state representative. And he came and asked me. And the reason why I said yes to him was because of the enormity of respect that I had for him, and the fact that he was the kind of person, if he said he was going to do something, he did it. And so for me, that was the reason why I even accepted it. And it was the weekend, the Friday before qualifying. So I had to quickly qualify in 2016. I did my very best to run a race that I would be proud of. By the way, they gerrymandered the district in, so that was 2015, they gerrymandered the district before 2016. And the whole idea was that I would lose. What they did was they cracked the original district. So they took off part of the district that was Everly African American and brought the district up into Bethlehem, and Decula at the time in 2016 was heavily Republican still. And so I was supposed to lose that seat by 2,000 votes, over 2,000 votes. I lost that race by 222 votes. But I took what I learned from it was, since 2,100 people didn't vote, what I did was in 2017, a small team from my campaign stayed with me, and we knocked all 2,100 doors. In 2017, 3 people passed away, but the rest was still alive. And so we ended up running again in 2018 and winning that race by over 4,000 more votes than my opponent. And what was crazy was, my job as a candidate, based on the Democratic, because I'm a Democratic, I belong to the Democratic Party based on the policies that I think I most align with. But when I won, my job was to flip the seat from a Republican to a Democrat, and I would have been the first Black person to serve in that area. So I would have made history regardless in Gwinnett County, no matter what. But I got a call about 2 days later after winning, and somebody said, you know that you're the first Jamaican born to serve in the Georgia House of Representatives. And that ended up being the bigger story, that I was, not born here and an island girl. And but again, making history is always not for the person who sets out to make history. You make history simply by doing the right thing at the right time. And so happens that you make history, and it's what you do with history when you're at the table. And that's the most important part of it. So, yeah. So, making history was one thing. My family don't give a crap about no about no history, because they be telling me I still got to take the garbage out. Yeah, okay. The house still needs to be clean. We ain't got that kind of money to be sitting up living the life. So, but it's all it's what you do when you're at the table. So I made that journey to the Georgia House. It was a eye-opening experience, because it taught me that if you're not at the table, you're going to be on the menu. And that's why it's so important for us to have people at the table in different areas, politics, business. All of it matters because, and I hope that when you get to the table, that you're also willing to help someone else. It's not about you just being there and sitting there. It doesn't do any good because our time here is short. And I hope that, you would at least be willing to teach somebody, help somebody to get to that place. But that's me in a nutshell.
And here you are today.
Here I am today.
I told you about intentionality and how powerful she is.
Yes, and quite a story that and it's your life, It's not just a story, it's your life. It's the path that you've followed, right?
That's my path. Yes. That's what I'm supposed to do, but everybody has their own path. And, I think I don't think you watch or be jealous of anyone doing anything because you don't know their story. You don't know their life. One of the things you can't do is live in a story, especially if one that there's been pain, is to live there. That's an address you don't want to live at forever. So it's important for you to realize who you are and understand who you are, to be comfortable in your own skin, because a lot of people want to be in somebody else's skin, and that's not a place you can live, because you don't live in that skin. You've got to live in your own skin and then determine what you want. And like I said, the word intentional is important. Not intentionally to be mean, intention to get things accomplished. Be intentional about how you share your space with other people. Be intentional about if something is not right, that you can be intentional about changing it. We're the change we want to see, and you can't wait for somebody else to give you that change. Yeah.
Yep. So, folks out there listening, we have in the spotlight the Honorable Donna McLeod, and she just shared her story from Jamaica to Canada to Atlanta.
Yes.
And into DeKalb, into Gwinnett, where she currently resides, and is now running for office to be chair of Gwinnett County. That's correct, right?
That is correct. And
there's an election coming up. When?
It is actually in May. May 21st is the primary. So let me explain the primary system, but I found that so many people don't even understand the primary system, right? So first of all, there was a presidential primary in March. And that's because the party itself wanted to be relevant in the determination of who becomes the president of each of their parties. So Georgia had theirs in March. And the primary is where you actually vote for the person who's going to be on the November ballot. So everybody on your November ballot was chosen by people on the May ballot. So that's what the primary process is Republican or Democrat. You pull a Republican ballot to vote for the Republican people that will be on the November ballot. You pull a Democratic ballot to vote for all the Democrats you want to see on the November ballot. Really, this I did not realize that some people did not understand. And they need to understand why local elections are so important. And I give this reference, this scenario, especially for African Americans. Before 1865, it was legal to own a human being as a slave in the state of Georgia. It was state law. The federal government couldn't do anything about it because the state had powers. What ended that was a civil war, right? That actually ended slavery in the state of Georgia. It is so important that people understand that you stop bad laws at your state, because if there's not a federal law, it stands. It actually stands. And so that's why people need to understand why it's so important to vote in your local election. Not only that, your local government impacts your life way quicker than anybody else, right? And it's ultimately about the tax dollars you pay. So let me give you, for instance, in the state of Georgia, we collected $32 billion with a B. That's bigger than some countries. The state of Georgia, just alone, the state of Georgia. Not only that, the state of Georgia gets another $27 billion federally, because we also pay federal taxes, right? So you're looking at a budget of what? Almost $60 billion in the state of Georgia. But of that $34 billion, 76% of that $34 billion comes directly from income and sales tax. So even if you don't pay income tax, you pay sales tax on everything you buy. So you're contributing to the actual function of the government. And then 12% of that comes from, another 12% comes from fees. And we pay fees, right? It could be on your utilities. It could be Secretary of State that you open a big, you're paying fees, right? And then the last 12% will come from businesses, in which 280,000 businesses in the state of Georgia do not pay any income tax, because the Republicans, who are the majority in the Georgia House of Representatives, believe that giving tax breaks to businesses is a priority. They prioritize that. And it's not that I don't believe that we can give businesses tax breaks. I think it's actually pretty good for in some instances. So like getting a good business in my community, right? I might want to give the business that's coming in a break so that they can hire more people, and that would help my constituency. So that's how I look at it. But when the company stays, income tax free for decades, but you don't call that welfare, but you want to call somebody who needs some help welfare, that's our collective money, right? So taxes is a collection of all our monies. And so the idea is that the taxation that you're paying should be giving you services in return for it. If you have a business, say you open a business, you're going to produce a product or service, and then guess what? You can charge for it. And you can make a product for $2 and charge $10. You're making an $8 profit. That's business. Government doesn't work the same. They take your money in taxation. One of the reasons why this country was formed back in the 1770s was because of taxation without representation. They actually went to war against England because they did not want to be paying taxes without no representation. So this country is about a republic. It's about making sure that the people that are in this country, again, African Americans, Black people were not at the table when this country was formed. And people need to remember that. We were not at the table. We were still on plantations. But the beauty of the Constitution is that the people that wrote it, in their own mindset, was that they never want to be ever taken over again. So it leaves a lot of room in that Constitution for growth. It is, United States is one of the most interesting countries in the world because of what the ideals are, right? The 3 branches of government, separation of powers. That's unique, right? That no one branch can just say, I'm king. And they really tried to make sure this was not a monarch, right? And in that process, there's been 27 amendments to the Constitution, right? In that 27 amendments, 3 of them have to do with voting, right? The 15th, the 19th, and the 26th. The 15th was given Black males the ability to vote, because, and I say ability and not a right, because at the end of the day, the only people written inside the actual Constitution with a right to vote are white men that own land. So everybody else, a white man that didn't own land, you ain't crap. White woman, you ain't crap. People on planted, you ain't crap. So there was Black man, and then came the 19th was the women, and then the 26th gave young people 18 years of age and older the ability to make decisions, especially that we're sending them off to war. So that was one of the reasons why the 26th Amendment came about, was because of these young men that were being sent to war, and young women, but mostly men at the time. And we need to keep that in mind all the time about when we're looking at how we're going to make this country better. And the only way you make things better is to get different voices at the table and difference of perspectives. And so those 27 amendments to the Constitution have been used quite a lot, right? Even basically your right to attorney and protecting yourself. Those are all things that are protected under the within that 27th Amendment. Your First Amendment right to be able to speak freely, protest, and all of that stuff. But you can't have your right of freedom of speech if you advocate to kill somebody or shout out fire in a theater. That's not freedom of speech anymore. So you need to understand that the freedoms have consequences, and at the end of the day, we all have to be aware. So those are the reasons why it's important that people understand why they need to vote and why they need to participate, because everybody likes to lump everything into politics. It sounds so nice. I'm not in politics. Yeah, great. You don't have to be in politics. You don't have to run for office. But the political process is how we basically get the leaders that are going to execute this republic and the ideals of this republic. So if you don't participate, you ain't losing, you ain't harming anybody but yourself. I promise you that, because there will still be people at the table making decisions on your behalf. And I tell people all the time, you have a birth certificate, you have a death certificate. That's all politics. It's all government. It's all government. You want to use politics to get people that will govern on your behalf, so you get a return on investment. So I want to say the reason why I'm running for Gwinnett County chairperson, I've invested a lot of time in this county. Long before anybody thought that this county was going to be blue, I was working. I was doing the work, registering over 30,000 people in Gwinnett County, making sure that we got extended early voting and Sunday voting. Those are all things that I advocated for long before I was even elected to office. And when I got elected to office, I also worked with the Secretary of State. So if you go to mvp.sos.ga.gov, that's my voter page, that's Secretary of State.georgia.gov, which is government. Or you can go iwillvote.com, put in your first initial, last name, date of birth, and the county you're registered in. You will also see your county commissioner seat, and you will see your county school board. Guess who did that? I did that. I worked with the Secretary of State to make sure, because what I found was when I got here, you would have to know your precinct number. You would have to get a map of your county commissioner seats. Then you'd have to find your precinct in that map. That's how you would know what commissioner seat you're living in. Now you don't have to do that. I also worked with the Secretary of State to make sure that people that were finished their responsibility to the state, ex-felons, that when they were finished, they get back their right to vote. We have that ability in the state of Georgia to make sure that people, ex-felons, can proceed to voting when they've finished all of their requirements to that. I also made it clear to a lot of people that didn't know, especially Gwinnett County and the rapid change in Gwinnett County, in the demographic change. We have about 180,000 students in the school system. The formula that we're funding the school system is from 1985. Yes, we have more money, but we also have more students, and the needs are different. English is a second language. Pre-K, we don't have pre-K. Children that needs lunches, free or reduced lunches, that's federally funded. Kids with special needs, that's federally funded. We're not funding that from the state of Georgia. And so it's important for us to remember that, especially with the special needs children, back in the day, kids with special needs used to be sent to a faraway school. Today, those students are in the school with the other children, so they can feel a part of, and that's important. It's important. Their needs need to be met too. And so I try to explain to people that way. So when I look now, and 4 years ago, the young lady that was elected, she's supposed to be a Democrat, but yet she kept every single person in her administration from her predecessor who were Republicans. When you get elected, your vision of the county should also be expressed. How's your vision being expressed when you're keeping the same people? That's why my slogan is the status quo's got to go. When we look around, yeah, there's a lot of building, but guess what we don't have? We don't have any housing plan. We do not have a housing plan in Gwinnett County. So we've just been building. and it's congested and there's no real direction and plan. And that is costing us not just on the roads, but also in our classrooms. We're seeing classroom sizes in high school balloon from 38 to 39 kids. In middle school, 30 kids in a class, and almost all the high schools have portables outside. That's unacceptable. We've made no provisions in Gwinnett County for small businesses, like real provision. Like we need to put away some money for small businesses, because guess what? During COVID, they were hit hard. But Gwinnett County also depends, quite a large part of our economy is dependent on those restaurants and beauty shops, barbershop. Those are a huge part of our economy. We have about 5 top employers in Gwinnett County. One is the Gwinnett County Public Schools, Gwinnett County Government, which that's why I'm asking you guys to vote for me. And then you also have the hospital, North Side. Then the 4th largest is, I think it's Publix and then Walmart. But all the other like energy builders are from the small business community. And we have a lot of them. In all of the 16 cities in Gwinnett County, small business plays a huge part in keeping that economy going. And so it's so important for us to understand that we need to support them. We saw that in COVID, how devastating it was, because they don't have no support at all. So we need to make sure we're supporting them. And also, if you look at who's doing business with the county today, it's pretty much the same people that used to do business with the county 30 years ago.
Not much change. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to explore and just discuss Donna's vision for Gwinnett County when she win and become county chair. So let's take a quick break. But actually, it's not that quick a break, but going back to our song, right? Our song from Donna.
Like they're my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Like them high decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. Have a collision with purpose, 'cause you know that you're worth it, and your dream is worth capturing. If I'm not living on purpose, then none of it is worth it. My assignment is uplifting souls for to be in alignment with my purpose.
Again, it's my decision to have a collision with my purpose, and I have 2 Donnas on here, and both of them made that decision to have a collision with their purpose. So I know I'm in good company. I'm surrounded by the Donnas. So I'm just so honored. I feel good about it. And if you're watching, listening, and whatever you're doing, we ask that you share the stream, share the replay. And this is a very important conversation that we're having here today. We're talking about participating, be a part of the process, not just sit back and wait for things to happen. Take action, be intentional, right, Donna? Donna's?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Be intentional. So, Donna host. Why don't you I have to be so careful, you know, when the name Donna host, Donna Thompson. You know, jump in and let's have your piece. That's
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't, you know, like honestly speaking, Donna, I can't wait to hear all the ideas and changes that you're wanting to improve on in the county. Because, you know, like we said, I live in the county and I've lived here a very long time, and I've seen a lot of growth. Yes, growth is, you know, it's great. However, with growth and such a massive growth, there's a lot of challenges, because just like what we're saying, you know, we're building. We don't have roads for cars. It's traffic is an absolute nightmare. Like I totally avoid 78 124 because a 5-minute ride could take you an hour.
Yes.
You know, the school, I have a 15-year-old who's in school, so we can speak on all those various different things. You know, I just got a notice the other day, I think the classrooms, they're going up to like 35 and more children in a classroom, which is, there's so many things that, you know, that's not going to work. There's no way children are going to learn. The teachers are going to be overwhelmed more than how they are. So it's just like something really needs to, there needs to be some kind of control.
Yes.
In our county, because now it's like free for all, and it's kind of crazy.
That's the word, free for all.
Yeah. So I can't wait to hear, like your thoughts and your ideas and what you hope to be able to, you know, kind of help to scale back or improve on.
So just don't touch on before I would go forward what my plans are, but there's a project that a lot of Gwinnetians are not aware of. Some people are, but most people don't. There's a project called Rowan. Rowan is a piece of land that you, me, and Dr. Stephenson's are all investors in. It's located up in the Decula, Auburn area. It's about 2,000 acres. It was bought before the last chairwoman left. She basically put our names on a banknote, and the project's supposed to take between 50 and 75 years. Yeah, and most of us won't be here to see that project. And they're supposed to pay us back, because right now we're about $100 million or $120 million in the hole as investors in the property. And what we're seeing a problem with is getting other investors, because we don't have an effective transportation system. So a lot of investors don't want to come and help us out because, well, they have to make their money back. So for people that didn't know about Rowan, that's something, we're already in it. So I'll have to figure out what to do exactly about that. But one of the things that I want to do initially is to hire a transportation engineer as well as a civil engineer. Because we lack having a plan in Gwinnett County for how we built and put. In fact, I'm just driving down 20 Grayson Highway, and there's an apartment complex. There's an apartment complex, and right for the apartment complex is a chicken place, a fried chicken place.
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
Yeah,
exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah, right there on the left. If you're going towards Lawrenceville.
Yes, if you're coming from Grayson towards the
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously, like
that's interesting.
It's that's what I'm saying. There's no plan, so no accountability for it, and people don't always tie things together, right? Because they're overbuilding. I went to a meeting to talk about the SPLOST money and how we're going to spend the SPLOST money. And during that meeting, someone just said to me, ask this question. So I put up my hand and I said, hey, so when exactly is the school board, brought into this conversation? And he said, oh, they're brought into the conversation. I said, when exactly? They were brought in at the county commissioner meeting level. They're not brought in at the planning and development level. Let me be clear now. The school board buys land from the county to build new schools. Can anybody guess how much percent land we have left in Gwinnett County? Oh, less than 8%.
I'm not surprised because I see they're clearing out. They're clearing out like right around the corner from my house. And I'm like, what could you possibly put up here? It's a two-way street. Who knows?
So the only other option then is to knock down existing
or take away people's land. In fact, I actually had to step in. If you're aware of the promised land in Snellville, I actually had to step in to help the Livesies to stop them from taking their land in eminent domain. I had to step in and bring the media in. That's how they stopped. Because this, her name is Teresa Livesey Lemon. She said something that was profound. She said, you can grow on land, but you can't grow land. That's right. So land becomes valuable. Yeah. That in the fact, the Europeans that came to this country, their main goal was land, right? When they put that pole in down and said they're claiming it for England, they know that that is the most valuable thing that they as an asset. And so we have to be very mindful even for ourselves to make sure that we don't get lost in translation about what is value, right? Value is what somebody's willing to pay for. That's what value is. And if there's not a lot of that thing, it becomes more expensive. But also, I said earlier, value is what you're willing to pay for. I remember when I was a little girl, the Cabbage Patch Kids used to be $100 with their birth certificate. And by the time I was about 20 something years old, those same Cabbage Patch Kids were like $5 in the dollar store because nobody was willing to pay $100 anymore. But land is not one of those things because you can't multiply land. So we need to be cognitive about what we find to be valuable, especially in our community. And we have to be intentional about making sure money goes to our community more than one time. So that those are things that need to be things. So transportation engineer, a civil engineer, because this has gone so far, I really need science and data because I'm a science and data person. I need facts. What can we do to make this better? Where are our options? Because Gwinnett County is so spread out. And it's costing us now to actually force people to give up their land because we did such a poor job in the first place. So it's really, really interesting place for us to be. So I need data and facts, right? One of the things that I'm looking at is repurposing abandoned shopping plaza for more affordable housing. You know, people don't think a lot about it and connect things, but I'm a connector. And one of the things that we as, especially those of us that have, been educated and we have our own home, we like that, right? But, when we go out to restaurants and sit down to eat, the people that are serving us are usually not living in the houses that we live in or get paid the same amount of money, but yet we want them to serve us. And where they're going to live, we certainly don't have an effective transportation system for them to live outside Gwinnett County. So they have to live in Gwinnett County in order to basically provide the services to us who are coming out there to sit in the restaurant, eat up, or for somebody to cook the meals. We need to tie those things and understand that's real. That's real talk, right? It's not, oh, I'm just living here, living my life, and I'm just going to go and have a bite. Somebody to make the food. Somebody had to open the door. Somebody has to clean the table. Somebody has to serve you. All those people are not making no $70,000 a year. So it is important that these people have an ability to live in the same communities as we do, because they're working with us to provide us with services. So it's so important. So repurposing some of those abandoned shopping plaza is going to be important for us doing. There's a young lady with the Lawrenceville Housing Authority. She has some great ideas about how exactly we should build more affordable, or what I call it, workforce housing. And because this county has been so slow and the status quo has been allowed to continue, we had not moved forward in some great ideas. And I've been involved in that process for years. And though the years that we've already lost has cost us dearly. And so again, it is time for us to think forward thinking, not just when we see development, we think, oh, that means progress. No, it doesn't always mean progress. Because if you don't have a plan with progress, it's chaos. It's chaos. I sat in traffic from old Peachtree Industrial to on Buford Drive, which is 20, going by the Mall of Georgia. I sat in traffic for an hour and 40 minutes to get to 85. Wow. An hour and 40 minutes. What's your quality of life? I can't bring my hour and 40 minutes back. And time is not waiting for me at all. And no one of us is waiting. So those are the things that people don't think about quality of life. That's important. And so I think it's important that we have somebody at the table that has that kind of mindset to change things. It's going to be difficult. I'm not going to tell everybody it's going to change overnight, but I promise you, I don't use theory alone. If I have a theory, I'm going to prove it, and it's going to be using facts and data, period, to get to a conclusion as to what we need. And so this is important for what I'm planning to do, and just understanding, because I live here. My grandbaby go to school here. My daughter went to Central Gwinnett High School. She graduated from Georgia State. So this is not an offshoot for me. This is where I live, and this is where I've worked too. And in a lot of places, I was a quality manager in several companies in Gwinnett County. So let's not just live, work, and play. Let's really live a life where we're not living with congestion, pollution, and just loss of time. You can't bring back time. It's priceless. So I want anybody listening to me right now to really, really go and look at my website, www.donnamcleod.com, and look at what I've laid out. You can also follow me on social media. It's Donna for you, DONNA, Donna McLeod for you. That's DONNAMCLEOD, the number 4, UYOU, and that's at Facebook, Twitter, Tribal, Threads, and at IG. So I'm on 5 different platforms. It keeps me busy. But again, I want people to really take the time. It's your job to learn about the people that are running. There's a lot of people on the ballot this time around because it's a primary. You need to go in. So that same website, iwillvote.com, the MVP site, you can actually, and it's mvp.sos.ga.gov, or you can go iwillvote.com. Really go in there, put your information in. On that site, when the ballot is ready, you will be able to actually get a sample ballot. Study it, study the people that are on the ballot. make choices based on facts, because it's about how you live and how they're going to spend your money and who's in charge of spending that money. So please, please do your homework. And by the way, once we're elected, your job is not over. Your job has just begun. Accountability is another thing that we do not do a very good job at. We just elect people and then say, I'm done. And then we go on about our lives. These people, the people that are at the table, have a lot of impact on your life. You might think it has nothing to do with it, and I've got to make my dollar. But that same dollar, if a law change, might just disappear. Just like that. So you might think it doesn't impact you, but I promise you it does. And as a person who sat at the table in the Georgia House of Representatives, I know that what decisions we were making in there was going to impact people's lives by the millions.
And that you did. I just want to add context here. And, you know, some of our viewers are not from Gwinnett. They're in other states and other localities. But I want to say that much of what Donna is saying applies to your situation as well, wherever you are. So while she's specifically talking about Gwinnett, where she's running to become chair of the county chair, your situation, wherever you are, you need to take action as well. And because it could be very much the same situation you're faced with. So I just wanted to jump in and say that, you know, because and if you are in these other locations, you know someone here in Gwinnett. And if you're listening and you are in alignment and you agree with what Donna is saying, talk to your friends, your family here in Gwinnett. Because one thing I know about Atlanta and Georgia, Atlanta and Gwinnett, a lot of us moved here from somewhere. So it is very likely that you have relatives outside of the county. So, you know, I myself, I'm supporting Donna. I'm, you know, behind her candidacy. And I'm encouraging you, if you listen to her, we're not speaking on her behalf. She's here telling you her vision. She's sharing her vision. And if it aligns with you, then do what you need to do. Right, Donna Thompson?
Absolutely. I want to also remind people, campaigns are not for free. When you see the sign, now that you guys, some of you have seen my name now, and you're going to see signs on the road, it costs money to do mailers, to do phone calls, to do the literature. This literature here, it costs money. So please, you can go to my website and make a donation. I cannot use it personally. I'm not going to jail for nobody. Because me and Big Bertha will never be friends. So it is, and we have to report that money to the ethics filing to make sure that all monies are accountable. I have a separate accountant, a person who actually verified the money that came in versus what's in the bank account. So there's nothing that you have to worry about that it's going to be used for my personal use. It is not, but we do need capital to make sure that the campaign fund, and my opponent has raised a lot of money from the developers because that's her constituency base, not the people that she's supposed to be serving. I don't have $200,000 because I plan not to cater to the builders. They can be a part of the needs that we have, but they cannot run the county because the county is run by the people, because this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And at the end of the day, if we're going to make this experiment called the United States actually work, then we all have to be a part of it. A few years ago, I coined a statement and I said, knowledge is the most powerful thing you give to yourself, but that the vote was the most important thing that we give to each other.
Well said. Well said. Is there any way we can get the link up for your website, any of that? Donna, do you have that information? We can.
Oh yeah, it's just DonnaMcLeod.com.
DonnaMcLeod.com, and that's for everything. It's everywhere and every platform.
For my website, for my social media, it's Donna McLeod, the number 4 YOU. Social media, That's my handle, at Donna McLeod, DONNA MCLEOD. It's important that you spell the McLeod. I know it sounds like McLeod or McLeod. It's
yeah,
McLeod.
the spelling is interesting.
Yeah, it is actually. And statistically speaking, Jamaicans make up the 3rd largest immigrant group in Gwinnett County. After the census, yes. So we're a large group here. But the name McLeod, there's actually under the C, there's 2 lines indicating there's 2 C's in my name, but it's actually spelled MCLEOD. MCLEOD. It's pronounced McLeod, but it's MCLEOD, and it's the number 4 and then YOU. That's my on all my social media. I've basically changed all that branding from having different ones to just I have a personal page. I also have a public page on Facebook. But please go to www.donnamcleod.com and learn more about me. Make a donation. It will certainly be appreciated. And you can be sure that your money will be used wisely.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Maybe a little bit off topic, but
no problem.
So I live in an older community, right? And I know that there is a lot of elderly individuals in my neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. And I know that things have gotten to the point where a lot of these individuals, they're living by themselves. They may not have family members, things of, it's just hard. And it's getting more expensive. It's getting more costly. Because I know my family personally, we chip in to do certain things with our neighbor. Right. And, I'm just, does the county have something like a program or something where, they check on these people, something to see how they're doing, what's going on, make sure they're okay.
Well, the police department can do welfare checks
for our elderly.
So the police department can do welfare checks, but here is something that you just brought up, that if we have an open line of communication to our communities, we can see what needs are needed. That's the whole idea, right? Is that we fund things that the community needs. Yep. So there's no reason why we could not create a service for that reason. So I know we had in some of the cities, they had like buses that would pick up the elderly to bring them to the Rhodes Jordan Park. They have like a community center there, but that can also be provided by the county. One instance, a few weeks ago, I get a call. Even though I'm not in elected office, I still get calls from people. People will tell people to call me if they can't get anything else done. So they call me because as soon as I call somebody, they know to get it done because I'm not the one to play with. But one of the things was this lady calls me and she said her sister, who's blind, the county had a bus service that would pick her up and take her to her appointments. And then one day she goes out there, she's standing there, the bus didn't come.
Don't come.
Nobody told her. Nobody told the family. So the person calls me. I didn't call the commissioner, Kirkland Carden, and I said, what's going on? This service is being provided. It was reinstated a week later. Wow. And she was very grateful. But
yeah,
that's a service.
Yeah, it's something that's, that, I mean, and I'm just saying that I think, maybe there's things that I don't know about it. We don't know about it. And, our elderly neighbors, they probably don't know either, because some of the things is so challenging. And when you get to a certain age,
in fact,
you just can't figure things out on your own. So, it would just be good if we had.
Let me just see if I can find them. I had Sandra. I had somebody contact me. One of my former state rep called me because somebody that lives in Gwinnett County an elderly wanted information for the elderly, and I think I still have that contact information. If I don't find it now, I will. I don't know if you guys can post it, but I do have a contact person for that senior need with the county. But we can always improve upon it and make it more targeted, right? Because what you're asking might not be something that we thought about, and we do have now a more aging population. When I first got to Georgia, there wasn't as much older people, but those of us that came here 20-some years ago, guess where we're sitting now? In the older population.
Those 55 plus communities are popping up everywhere.
I'm 56 now, so when I came here, I was only 30, and now I'm 56.
Right.
I've been here.
I'm not going to say what I am, but they're popping up everywhere.
And those are things that you work on now and you institute it. It's believe it or not, we may be the ones receiving those services when we get to that region. Yeah. We're on deck. So it's a real concern. It's a real concern. Well, Dr. Stephenson, for me, my situation on this, and that's why I'm asking, because
absolutely.
Find that information.
And not just personal, but I know you go around your neighborhood and you take care of a lot of elderly people living on their own.
Yeah,
and we will be the elderly too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Around the corner.
Exactly. We're in deck.
Yeah, so I'm going to find that information because I know.
You can always share that with us, and we'll get it out there. You can always share that with us.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that will help me a whole lot.
One of the things that I've noticed on this platform is that time go by so fast. Before you turn around, an hour and a half is like a blink. So but I do know there will be another opportunity to have the Honorable Donna McLeod back here with us. So we're extending that invitation, for her to come back on. But Donna, is there anything that you haven't said that you would like to share?
I want to make sure people understand the dates of the election and that this is a primary. If I win this primary, it is almost certain that I will be the next chairwoman.
When you win.
When I win this primary, it is almost certain that it is. So please keep these dates in mind. April 29th starts early voting. April 29th. It goes until May 17th. That's early voting. So there's a lot of time. There's about 10 locations that are early voting locations. So you can go to any of those locations to vote in that early voting period of time. You don't go to your actual polling location, just those stations. On election day, which is May 21st, if you did not exercise your ability to vote in that period, then you'll vote on election day. You will have to go to your own polling location. That means the church or a church or a school or wherever. And you can get that information on the MVP site or iwillvote.com. And once you put in your zip code, it'll take you to the Secretary of State website. So again, April 29th starts early voting. It ends on May 17th. The last day to vote in the primary will be the 21st. I need everybody that is in the earshot to tell somebody about that they need to come to the vote. If anybody needs to vote, to register to vote, they need to be registered by, I think it's April 22nd. I think that's what I got. April 22nd to participate. If you are not a registered voter yet and you want to participate in this primary, you need to be registered by April 22nd. So if you know any young, especially young folks that are turning 18 before the election, they need to register now. And you can go to you can go to the MVP or iwillvote.com. It will say, do you want to register to vote? You click on that and it will take you to the site to get those folks registered. You can also go down to the Board of Election, which is in Lawrenceville, pick up a voter registration form, fill that out, and leave it at the counter, and they will process it for you. But for all of you that are registered to vote, please tell somebody, especially the yardis that are listening, tell another yardie, because one thing I would say about Jamaicans, right? When we have confidence in somebody, then we have no problem, really bigging them up. I've represented not just the Jamaican community, the Caribbean community, and I represent the people that I serve. And I'm grateful that I was able to get a lot of the Caribbean community to actually start paying attention. And that's one of the things that comes along with being at the table and being elected, is that the possibilities become clearer. It's not an abstract anymore, it's real. And so then people start saying, oh, if she's done it, it's possible. And so again, I ask everybody humbly for their vote. I never take anybody's vote for granted. I'm out there asking people for their vote, because I know that is a gift you're going to give to me when election day comes. My opponent has a lot of money, so just expect you're probably going to see a lot of mailers from her, because she's got a whole lot more money. But that's not how we should run our government, based on the fact that who can buy the government. Mm-hmm. You should be voting on people that can actually serve you in this government.
All right. Sounds good. We're going to do this last piece tonight where we call closing arguments. Donna Thompson, do you want to lead off with your closing arguments?
Sure, absolutely. So I would like to say thank you to all our audience who tuned in this evening to listen to us. Once again, on a Monday evening, we don't take your time for granted. So we definitely appreciate you being here with us. And Donna, we so humbly thank you for you spending your Monday evening with us. We greatly appreciate you, and more so the work that you're doing in the community. And we can see that, at least I can see that you are passionate about what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing. And for that, I thank you and greatly appreciate you for that. And also for our individuals in Gwinnett and surrounding areas, encourage your friends and family to come out and vote. Early voting, April 22nd, and then you can actually vote on May 21st. And if you're not registered to vote, go ahead and do that now. Take advantage of that. Once again, I do thank you all for joining us. And as we can see, we've been talking about voting, and we hear it. You've got to get involved in your communities. You've got to get involved locally. It impacts your everyday living. So pay attention to what is happening. Pay attention to who is representing you and what they're all about. And have a wonderful Monday evening.
Awesome. Donna, you want to give us your piece, please?
Yes, let me start by thanking you, Dr. Stephenson and Donna, my name, empowerment. Woo, woo, woo. And I want to thank everyone that was listening. I hope that there was information provided that you can use. First of all, I just want to say you have an enormous amount of power. Because every 4 years or every 2 years, people come and ask you and beg you for your vote. And you say after that, they kind of disappear. They shouldn't disappear. You should also keep them accountable. So it's your job also to make sure you get those contact information. And so if something comes up that you need to ask or know about, you need to have that person on speed dial. So that's also your responsibility. But for people who say my vote doesn't matter, this is a little girl from Kingston, Jamaica, who sat in the Georgia House of Representatives. I don't know anybody. I didn't come here knowing anybody. It's not rigged. People actually voted for me because I had something to say to them that they believe that was worth voting for me for. And so anyone who tell you that it's rigged, I promise you, I knew nobody coming to the state of Georgia. I had no idea. I came here just because of the Olympics, and that's where the truth of it, the matter. So if you're telling me that, oh, it's all rigged, then I must be rigged, because from the beginning, because I don't know anyone here, but I was able to show people where I really believe in the vision of this country. And I know it's not perfect, because we stand here as people that were once enslaved, and now we have an ability to change things, and it's up to us to do it. So if your vote didn't matter, there wouldn't be so many people trying to take it away. I sat in the Georgia House and watched it. I was on MSNBC and CNN talking about the rules that were put in place. I want people to remember there's only 2 requirements for voting in the United States of America. One is that you must be 18 years of age and older, and the other one is a United States citizen. Everything else is fluff, because there's only 2 requirements. And so if you see people trying to take your vote away, you must know it's important. And you know why it's important? Because it's attached to money, and that's your tax dollars. And nothing says to people that want to keep power than money. Money speaks volume to them. And this money is money that's collected through taxation. So it's not free money, but you forget that you actually paid that tax, especially the one that come out from income, because it comes off the top of your paycheck. So you don't even think about it no more. But it's your money, and you need to pay attention, and you should get a return on investment. And I said it before, knowledge is the most powerful thing you give to yourself, but the vote is the most powerful thing we give to each other. So please give me your vote and give me that power to advocate on your behalf at the table. And because if you're not at the table, you're certainly going to be on the menu. Thank you.
And being on the menu is not a good thing.
No.
It's either you do the leveraging or be leveraged, right? What's position you want to be in? And so Donna, my co-host Donna said it all, right? Said it all, and I don't want to repeat what she said, but one thing I will say is that you're certainly living your truth. You are. And I'm going to talk to our listeners. And I'm going to ask each person out there listening to perform an inspection of self. An inspection. And the question is, are you living your truth, or merely existing in the shadows of who you think you should be? Now, I want you to listen to me, right? Listen to me carefully. What would it mean for you to step into the light, to own your story, as Donna clearly owned her story, and to live with unbridled authenticity? Owning your truth can be very challenging, and I'm sure, Donna, you experienced some of that, right? It requires courage, vulnerability, and an unwavering belief in yourself, in oneself. But, and there's always this but thing, right? Imagine the freedom that comes from shedding the weight of expectation from others, right? From breaking free of the chains that bind you to conformity. As we move on this journey together in this very fleeting moment, let us ask ourselves, are we merely actors on the stage of life? Or are we the courageous playwrights of our destiny, our story? It is our choice to make. And one way to make that choice is to participate in the process. Don't let others make the choice for you. And I think that sums up what you've been saying, Donna. Right? So let this be the moment that you choose to embrace your truth. Live with purpose, passion, and radiate your authentic you, your light. That is my piece. All right, Donna, can you close us out?
Sure.
Take us home.
Alrighty.
And before Donna, can you just stay with us for a few minutes after?
Sure.
So take us home.
Alrighty. Once again, I just want to say thank you all for joining us this Monday evening. We appreciate the time that you have spent with us. We do not take it for granted. And go out there, cast your vote, just like what Donna said. If you're not at the table, you're going to be on the menu. And I don't think the menu is a good place to be. So go out there, make a difference, do what you need to do to make sure your community is being uplifted and holding the people who are representing you accountable, but you must take action. And with that, I will say have a wonderful evening. We will see you next Monday. Stay tuned in for our Thursday evening episode, 7:30 p.m. We'll be here at the same place, same platform, Virgin Generations. And have a blessed evening.